I used to love the sound of my wife's breathing while she slept. Soft, rhythmic, almost melodic, like a tide I could anchor myself to. Now, I give anything to not hear it, because she doesn't breathe like that anymore. It started about 2 months ago. Subtle at first, just little quirks. Emily would stay up a bit later than me, tapping away at her phone, scrolling through nothing. Sometimes I'd find her just staring at the wall beside our bed. I thought maybe she was stressed, maybe something at work. She was a nurse, night shifts, pressure, burnout. It made sense. One night, I woke up around 3 a.m. The bedroom was dark except for the faint blue glow of the hallway night light spilling in. Emily wasn't in bed. I figured maybe she was using the bathroom, but when I rolled over, I jumped. She was standing on my side of the bed, just standing there, motionless, watching me. Her face was completely still, not even blinking. I instinctively reached for the lamp and clicked it on. Her expression didn't change. She didn't react to the sudden brightness. She just stared at me like she didn't recognize me. I said, voice croaky. She blinked once, then smiled. Not the warm, sleepy smile I was used to. This one was mechanical, like something copying a human face. You were breathing funny, she said. Her voice was slow and flat, like someone reading from a teleprompter. I sat up. What? What do you mean? I thought you were choking, she said. But you were just asleep. Then, without another word, she climbed back into bed and faced the wall. Within seconds, she was lying still, eyes wide open, unblinking. That was the last night I saw her sleep. I wanted to be rational. Stress can do weird things. Sleepwalking. Dissociation. But things kept getting worse. Every night, Emily stayed awake. I started pretending to fall asleep, just to see what she'd do. She never moved. She would just lie there, facing me, not blinking. I'd open my eyes slightly, barely enough to see. She was already staring. Not with curiosity, not with love. Just watching. Sometimes her lips would move, but no sound came out. Once, I heard her whisper something. I leaned closer, eyes still shut. She was repeating something under her breath. The same 3 words. Don't go back. Don't go back. Don't go back. Over and over. I begged her to see someone. A sleep specialist. A psychiatrist. Anyone. She smiled that same smile again. The one that didn't look like hers. I'm not tired, she said. I don't need sleep anymore. I tried calling her sister, hoping for backup, for someone to tell me I wasn't insane. But Emily had already blocked her number. She blocked all of them. Then she started locking the bedroom door from the inside. She never left the house. Not even for groceries. She said everything she needed was already here. One night, I woke up to the sound of scratching. It was soft at first, like fingernails on fabric. I turned over and saw Emily on all fours at the foot of the bed, scratching at the floorboards. Slow, steady, like she was trying to dig her way through the house. Emily, I asked. She didn't stop. Emily, what the hell are you doing? Still no response. I got up and grabbed her shoulder. She hissed. I'm not exaggerating. A low, guttural hiss came out of her. And her pupils, those used to be brown. They looked jet black, not dilated. Black. She backed away from me, crawling in reverse like a spider. Then she stood in the corner of the room, smiling, breathing heavily. I turned on every light in the room. She didn't flinch. Go back to bed, she whispered. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she acted normal. Made coffee, fried eggs, asked if I wanted toast. Like none of it happened. When I brought it up, her tone turned cold. You must have dreamed it, she said. Her voice had a lilt to it, almost amused. I decided to leave the house for the day. Took my laptop and went to a cafe to work. Anything to get out. When I got back, the front door was unlocked. Every single mirror in the house smashed. The bathroom, the hallway, the full-length mirror in our bedroom. Shards of glass glittered across the floor like snow. I found Emily in the living room, sitting cross-legged on the floor. She was smiling at the blank wall in front of her. When I asked what happened, she didn't look at me. She just whispered, I didn't like how I looked anymore. That night, she sat on the edge of the bed facing me. I didn't even try to sleep. She didn't blink once for 7 hours. Not once. I tried recording it on my phone. The next morning, the video was gone. Deleted. Not just from my phone, but from the cloud, too. And there was a new file in my notes app. Just one sentence. You shouldn't have tried to watch her. I started sleeping on the couch. At first, I tried to hide it from her. Wait until she fell into one of her quiet, staring spells and sneaked downstairs with a pillow. But after 3 nights, she started coming down, too. She wouldn't say anything. Wouldn't ask why. She'd just stand in the hallway in the dark, watching me from the shadows. Motionless. As if making sure I didn't drift off. So I stopped sleeping altogether. For nearly 4 days, I stayed awake on energy drinks and paranoia. I walked laps around the block, drove aimlessly, napped in my car at the grocery store parking lot. Anything to avoid being alone with her. Alone with whatever was now in my wife's body. But I couldn't run forever. One night, I came home around 2 a.m. The house was silent, all the lights off. I crept inside, every creak of the floorboards screaming like a fire alarm in the quiet. I saw her, sitting cross-legged on the dining table. Not at the table. On it. Her eyes were open. Her head was tilted just enough to the side to look broken. "Why are you afraid of me?" she asked. Her voice sounded different. Slower. Dragging, like something mimicking human rhythm. I stood frozen. I hadn't heard her talk in days. "Emily," I whispered. I'm not afraid. I just think you're not feeling well. You haven't been sleeping." "I don't need sleep," she said. "Sleep is where they find you." My blood chilled. "Who?" I asked. "Who finds you?" She turned her head back upright, slow and twitchy like a puppet on strings. Her smile grew wide. Too wide. They never said their names. I ran back to the car and spent the night with the doors locked. But when I woke up, key still in hand, engine off, my phone had a new photo. No sender. Just a single image. Me, asleep in the driver's seat. And behind the fog back window, her silhouette. I tried to leave for good the next day. Packed a duffel bag, grabbed my passport, laptop, everything. I didn't even care where I went, just away. But when I opened the front door, I couldn't step outside. I mean that literally, my body refused to move. It was like a wall of static had slammed into my chest. My limbs buzzed and tingled, like the air was thick with electricity. Behind me, her voice. "You promised you'd never leave." I turned. She was standing halfway up the staircase, one hand on the banister. Not angry. Not sad. Just smiling. "I didn't say that," I muttered. "You did. On our wedding night. You said you'd never leave me, even in the dark." And then her smile dropped. Her face turned blank. "I'm still here in the dark." I collapsed. Blacked out right there in the doorway. When I came to, it was evening. I was lying on the couch. The front door was shut. My bag was gone. I sat up and looked around. The mirrors were still shattered. The clocks had all been unplugged. And the television, an old flat screen we barely used, was on, but not playing anything. Just black. But in that blackness, I could see my reflection, and her, sitting behind me. Except when I turned around, no one was there. I tried calling the police. That's when I learned Emily had already filed a wellness report on me. Apparently, I'd been delusional, dangerous, paranoid, and threatening. They asked if I was on any substances, if I'd hurt my wife. I tried to explain, tried to say she wasn't sleeping, wasn't even human anymore. They hung up, blocked my number, my own number. I thought maybe I could record her again, prove what was happening. That night, I rigged up an old nanny cam I found in storage. Tiny little lens, barely visible, hidden in the bookshelf. I hit record, went to bed, pretended to sleep. She came in around midnight. First, she stood over me for a full hour. Then, she began whispering again. Except this time, it wasn't just one sentence. It was a full conversation. But not with me. She was responding to someone. Nodding. Smiling. Asking things like, "Will he remember soon? What if he tries to leave again? Should I keep pretending?" Then, at 3:12 a.m. exactly, she stopped. Walked over to the shelf. Looked straight into the hidden camera. Tilted her head. Grinned. And said, "This one's broken too." The next morning, the camera was gone. I started finding drawings. Childlike scribbles on napkins. Paper towels. Even the inside of the microwave. Always the same thing. A man sleeping. A woman standing over him. and black figures crawling down from the ceiling, wrapping around her shoulders like vines. One night, I saw them too, or thought I did. I woke up gasping, air thick with heat. And above her, Emily, sitting in the corner of the room again. Something was moving. The ceiling was rippling, like there was liquid behind it, shadows swimming through drywall, and they were lowering themselves down into her, like smoke being poured into her body. She didn't even blink, just looked at me, and said, "They're almost finished with me." I started keeping track of time the best I could, using my phone when I could charge it, marking tally lines into the closet wall. But the days blended together. Every night felt longer. She never slept, never yawned, never blinked. And every time I did drift off, just for seconds, I'd wake up to her in a new position, sometimes kneeling beside the bed, sometimes upside down on the ceiling, arms pressed flat against the surface. Once, she was just standing in the hallway doorway, smiling, mouth wide open, eyes completely white, and she whispered, "We're learning your shape. I haven't left the house in weeks. I don't think I can." She watches me constantly now, from every doorway, every corner. Even when I sleep in the bathtub, she finds a way to be there. And I swear, last night I blinked, and when I opened my eyes again, she was me, staring down at me from above. Same face, same body, just reversed. "Wrong," I screamed. And when I looked again, it was just her, Emily, smiling. I started taping my eyelids open. That's how far things have gone. Small strips of medical tape across my lashes to keep myself from dozing off. Because if I sleep, even for a second, she moves closer. I don't always notice it right away. Sometimes it's something subtle, like she's leaning just an inch closer than she was before, or her hand has moved a little from her side to her knee. But one time, I blinked, and her face was just inches from mine. She didn't even flinch when I screamed. She only whispered, "You're letting them in." I've locked myself in the basement now. It's the only place with a door she won't open. I don't know why. Maybe something about the old iron latch, or maybe it's just not part of the house they care about. There's no bed, no windows, just concrete walls and a utility sink. But it's quiet, and I haven't seen her smile down here yet. 3 days ago, at least, I think it was 3, I finally slept. A real sleep. Deep, black, dreamless. I only woke because of the knocking. Not from the door. Not above me. It came from inside the basement wall. 3 knocks. Rhythmic. Deliberate. Slow. I pressed my ear to the cold concrete, and I heard something behind it. Breathing. Then a whisper. "Don't trust her skin." I screamed. Fell backward. Tripped over the water pipe and slammed into the floor. By the time I scrambled up, the whispering was gone. But there, on the wall, smeared in what looked like ash, was a drawing. Another childlike figure. A man, face distorted, eyes X'd out. A woman behind him. But her face, just a circle with dozens of hands coming out of it. I wiped it off. But when I turned around, another message was on the mirror behind the sink. "She's empty now." That night, I got a call on the landline. We haven't used it in years. We don't even give out the number. But it rang. 3 times. I picked up. Static. Then, faintly. "She's not wearing it right." I tried to ask who it was, but the voice just repeated the sentence, over and over, growing louder with each iteration. "She's not wearing it right." I hung up. The phone rang again within seconds. I unplugged it, and still it rang. I smashed it against the wall until plastic cracked and wires sparked. The ringing stopped. That morning, I found Emily at the top of the basement stairs. Not standing, lying flat, face down, like she'd tried to slide under the door. Her fingers were curled around the base of the frame, twitching. When I approached, she lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were bleeding, just 2 thin streams, like tears. "I missed you," she rasped. Her voice sounded too thick for her throat, like something was behind it, pushing out. I slammed the basement door shut and bolted it. She didn't follow, but she started talking. Every hour. On the hour. The same phrase. "Let me put it back on. I'll look like her again." I found the wedding album today. It was tucked into the old storage box beneath the stairs. I needed to remember her, the real her. But when I opened the book, every photo had changed. Same poses, same dress, But Emily's face was missing, completely blurred, like someone took a smudge tool to her head. In a few of them, there was something else in her place. A tall, dark smear of a figure. No features, just elongated arms and something like hair that trailed across the floor. In one photo, that figure had its arm around me. I took the album upstairs. I had to show her, had to confront her. Something. When I opened the door to the bedroom, she was there, standing beside the window, not facing me. Her head turned slowly as I walked in. "Do you remember our vows?" she asked. I held up the album. "What the hell are you?" I demanded. She didn't blink. She stepped forward, arms out. "You said you'd grow old with me." Her face started to twitch. Not with emotion, with instability. Her nose folded inward. Her cheeks bulged and trembled. Her lips stretched unnaturally wide, then tore. Not blood. No, something moved underneath. Something thin and white and twitching, like fingers pushing through latex. I dropped the album and ran. The next day, I called my brother. I hadn't spoken to him in years. We'd fought over something stupid. I don't even remember what anymore. But he picked up. "Dylan," I said. "It's me. I need help." A pause. Then his voice, hesitant. "Who is this?" "It's me," I repeated. "Your brother." "Owen, please, I don't know what's happening." "Emily, she's not." Another pause. Then a strange sound. Static? No. Breathing. Then he whispered, "We buried you 2 years ago." The line went dead. I couldn't eat today. Food tastes like dust. Water feels heavy in my throat. I'm cold all the time. And I've started seeing them too. Not just Emily. The shadows. I'll be walking through the hallway, and for a split second, I'll see them in the corner. Tall, lanky silhouettes with too many joints. Their arms bend backward. Their heads twitch side to side like they're searching for a signal. They disappear when I blink. They always disappear when I blink. Emily speaks in different voices now. Sometimes it's hers. Sometimes it's mine. Sometimes it's a voice I don't recognize, but when I feel in my bones, like I heard it before I was born. One night, I found her sitting on the bathroom sink. Naked. Shivering. Her body covered in writing. Scratched into her skin. Not deep, but enough to leave marks. Words like, "Wearable. Open again. Too shallow. He's waking up." She looked at me, smiled, and said, "They think you're ready." I tried to run again. This time I made it to the neighbor's yard. Barefoot. In my pajamas. Screaming. They weren't home. Their porch light turned on automatically, but the door wouldn't open. I ran around back, tried the windows. Locked. Then I turned around and saw her. Standing perfectly still on our front lawn. Not angry. Not chasing. Just waiting. Behind her, the house was glowing from the inside. Not yellow light. Blue. Like something was pulsing within it. I took one step toward the street, and the air turned thick again. Same as before. Like I was moving through syrup. I fell to my knees, coughing, ears ringing. Then I passed out. I woke up in bed. Sheets clean. Everything reset. Except she was sitting in the corner. Eyes wide open. Just whispering. "They're not finished yet." Last night, I woke up with her hand over my mouth. Her face was inches from mine. Eyes locked. She whispered, "Don't scream. It'll know." I nodded, slowly. Her fingers lifted, and I gasped for breath, heart racing so hard I thought it would break my ribs. "What will know?" I asked, keeping my voice low. She didn't answer. She just stood up and turned toward the hallway. I followed. She moved like she was in a trance, silent, barefoot, weightless. We passed the broken mirrors. The hall lined with tally marks. We descended the stairs, one creak at a time. And then she stopped in front of the door to the crawl space. A door I didn't even know existed. Low, barely 3 feet tall, built into the wall behind the stairs. "I need you to see what I buried," she whispered. She pulled the latch. The door creaked open. A breath of cold, stale air rushed out, thick with rot and earth. She ducked inside, and I followed on all fours. The tunnel sloped down, narrow and oppressive. No lights, just her humming ahead of me. Soft, tuneless. Like a lullaby from a dream you don't remember having. After a few minutes, we reached the end. It wasn't a basement. It wasn't even a room. It was more like a void. The walls were rough dirt. The air bust. And in the center, there was a shape. At first, I thought it was a sculpture. A pile of flesh-colored cloth stitched together. But then it moved. It breathed. Slow and wet. Emily reached for it, stroked it, and said, "This is where they made me." I ran, scrambled backward through the tunnel, hit my head, screamed, panicked. She didn't follow, didn't chase. But her voice echoed behind me. "Tell it you want to stay, and it'll stop hurting." I reached the main floor and slammed the crawlspace door shut. I nailed it closed with wood and screws I found in the shed. Then I locked myself in the bathroom and cried for an hour. The next day, the door was gone. I mean it. Gone. Like the wall had always been smooth. I touched it. Knocked. Screamed. No hollow echo. No seams. Just painted drywall. But when I stepped away, I noticed something worse. My reflection was watching me blink. Out of sync. I lifted my hand. The mirror lifted the wrong one. Then it smiled. I didn't. I've stopped looking into mirrors. Or windows. Anything reflective shows too much now. Sometimes it's just her standing behind me. Other times, I see myself asleep. Eyes closed, mouth open, lying in places I've never seen before. Forests, wet caves. Rooms made entirely of stone. And always, always, something crouching above me. Watching. The whispers have grown louder. Not just from Emily. Now they come from inside the walls. From beneath the floor. From the static between phone calls I don't answer. They say things like, "She's almost worn through. We're almost here. The shape is holding." One night, I found Emily standing over the stove. Boiling water. Except, there was nothing in the pot. No steam. No smell. Just empty steel and her smile. When I asked what she was cooking, she said, "I'm softening the inside of me." Then she dipped her fingers in. Held them there. Didn't flinch. I backed away slowly. I don't even think she noticed I left. I started looking for old documents. Photos. Anything. Something to prove that Emily, my Emily, was once real. Not just something they gave me. I found our marriage certificate. Only it didn't have my name. It said she was married to Subject 6C. There was no address. No county seal. Just a black stamp, completed. Our birth certificates were blank. Her journals? All empty. Every page scribbled out with the same phrase. "Keep pretending. He doesn't know." I hear scratching under the bed at night. Not like rats. Like fingernails on wood. I moved the bed. Nothing there. Slept in the hallway. Still heard it. Slept in the kitchen. Still heard it. It follows me. Like it knows when I'm about to sleep. And wants to dig into my dreams. Last night, I saw someone else in the house. Not Emily. A man. Or something that used to be a man. He was tall, wearing an old red bathrobe. His face was wrapped in gauze. Only his mouth was exposed, smiling. He stood at the foot of the stairs, unmoving. I stared at him for a full minute. Then, slowly, he raised one arm and pointed upstairs. I blinked, and he was gone. But when I turned around, Emily was behind me, whispering. He wore it first. The dreams are real now. I fall asleep for seconds at a time, microsleeps. And in those flashes, I wake up in other places. Once, I woke up buried. Dirt in my mouth. Fingers twitching. Something whispering through the soil. You've been warned before. Another time, I was walking through a hallway made of mouths. They whispered my name. Not Owen. Something older. Something I couldn't pronounce, but understood anyway. When I woke, my fingernails were filled with soil. Emily doesn't watch me anymore. Not the way she used to. Now she studies me. Like a researcher observing a test subject. Sometimes she takes notes. I found one on the counter yesterday, written in that same alien handwriting. Phase 4, surface fatigue. Motor resistance increasing. He remembers the before, but not the between. Proceed to merge trial. Merge trial. What does that mean? I don't want to know. The worst part? Some nights, I think I understand her. Some nights, I feel what she feels. The stillness. The buzzing under the skin. The sense that you're only a passenger in your body. That something is slowly slipping into you, like a hand into a glove. And the terrifying part? It doesn't feel wrong. I thought maybe if I filmed myself sleeping, I'd finally catch it. Catch the moment something changes. So I set up every camera I had, phone, laptop, nanny cam, even the old baby monitor Emily never got rid of. I arranged them all around the living room, aimed at the couch where I planned to sleep. I didn't tell her. Or at least, I thought I didn't. That night, I took 3 melatonin pills, curled under a blanket, and waited for unconsciousness. It came faster than I expected. I don't remember the moment I slipped under, only the moment I woke. To silence, to darkness, to cold, but not on the couch. I was lying in the dirt. The same tunnel from before. Only it was open now, wide and circular, like the throat of some ancient thing. Ahead of me was a figure. Her. Emily. But not. Her arms were longer. Her skin too tight. Her hair hung in clumps like wet rope. And her voice, it came from behind me, inside me. You've been shaped. You fit. I tried to run. My legs moved like syrup. Like I was inside a dream I couldn't wake from. The walls of the tunnel began to close in, pulsing, breathing. Mouths opened and closed along the surface. Some whispering. Some screaming. I tripped. Fell face first. And as I lifted myself up, I saw my own face staring back from the mud. Eyes wide. Dead. And whispering. Time to switch. I jolted awake screaming. Ran to the cameras. Checked every feed. All of them static. Except one. The baby monitor had recorded something. I opened the file. And there I was, lying on the couch. But I never moved. Not once. Even as she walked in and stood over me. Even as she leaned down and whispered something into my ear. The audio cracked and hissed, but I could make out a few words. One more night. Then we'll were you forever. I tried to leave again. Didn't pack a bag. Didn't write a note. Just ran. Got as far as the sidewalk before my vision blurred. My ears filled with that familiar ringing. And when I looked up, the house was gone. Not burned. Not collapsed. Gone. In its place was a smooth, windowless structure. Flesh-colored walls. No doors. Just one hole in the center. Pulsing. Beating. Like a heart. I blinked. And the house was back. Emily was standing in the doorway. Waving. I visited a doctor. Somehow made it to an urgent care across town. Told them everything. Not the monsters. Not the tunnels. Just the basics. Paranoia. Sleep issues. Hallucinations. The doctor nodded. Took notes. Asked if I was on any medication. Then he paused. Brows furrowed. You're Owen. Yes, I said. He glanced at the file again. I'm sorry, this file says Owen Pritchard was pronounced dead in 2021. I stared at him. No, that's not right. I'm standing right here. He stepped out to double-check something. I waited 10 minutes, then 20. When I peeked into the hallway, there was no one there. The entire clinic was empty. Lights off. Silent. As if it had been abandoned for years. I went home. Because where else could I go? The house welcomed me. Literally. The front door was open. Candles lit. Dinner on the table. Emily smiled. We were worried you wouldn't come back. That night, I didn't try to sleep. I just sat in the hallway, watching her. She stood in the kitchen, humming to herself, peeling apples that were already rotten. At exactly 3 a.m., she turned to me. They're done with the body, she said. Then she began to peel her own skin. Slowly. Carefully. Like she was removing a costume. Underneath wasn't blood. It was smoke. Shifting shadows. She held out the skin like a dress and whispered, Your turn. I ran into the bathroom and slammed the door. Locked it. Blocked it with the cabinet. Stared into the mirror. And saw 2 of me. One blinking. One not. The not blinking version lifted a hand. Pressed it against the glass. Then whispered, You were always the spare. I smashed the mirror. But the reflection didn't shatter. It stayed whole. Grinning. I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't know what I am anymore. I sleep now. Not because I want to. Because they let me. But every time I wake up, something is missing. A memory. A scar. A sound. Sometimes even a finger. Last week I woke up and my ring finger was gone. Not cut. Not bloody. Just smooth skin, like it was never there. Emily didn't even notice. Or pretended not to. Just smiled and said, You're almost perfect. Today, she told me we're having guests. I asked who. She tilted her head and whispered, "All the versions of you that didn't work. They arrived at night, one by one. Same face, same voice. All of them Owen. All of them broken in different ways. One dragged his foot like it had been melted. One was missing his mouth. Another just stared at me and cried the entire time." Emily introduced each of them like party guests. And I just smiled, because I was starting to remember that I'd been here before. Many times. Each time in a different body. Each time thinking I was the real one. I don't know if I'm the original. I don't know if there ever was an original. But I know this. The house wants to be filled. And we're just pieces. Outfits. Skins to wear. It isn't Emily. It never was. And I'm not Owen. Not anymore. This will be my last message. If you find this, don't come looking. Don't answer her if she knocks. Don't listen when she whispers your name from the dark. Because she will. Eventually. We all hear her voice. And once you do, you don't sleep anymore.